Hello children, Mrs. Dessoy here. Today we are talking about length and measuring length, and I'm going to just show you some ways to how that you can measure length and what you can do to have a little bit of fun with your objects that you find. So measuring is really important. We use that quite a lot. In fact, I've been measuring lots of things since I've been home. My children say to me, "Mom, how much have I grown? How tall am I?" So I get my tape measure out and measure how tall they are. Mr. Dessoy has been making me some boxes to put some flowers in the front garden. So I had to measure the planks of wood to make sure we cut them the right size. So we use measuring all the time. So we're going to have a look at how to do it today and what sort of fun we can have with it. Now, the first thing is you need something to measure with. So hopefully you've got a tape measure or ruler at home. I've got my sewing tape measure here. If not, you can always estimate some ideas of some objects around the house, or on the PowerPoint I've got some rulers and you can measure some things that I've put on there. Okay, but now the first thing is we are going to be measuring in centimetres. There's lots of different ways that we can measure, but today is centimetres. Okay, so we write centimetres. Oh, I haven't got much room. I'm going to put it right at the top here. The cm. That stands for centimetres, okay? So when you see the cm, you know that it's centimetres. Now, the next important thing is looking carefully at the numbers on your ruler or your tape measure. Now, on my one, if we look really carefully, let's have a look here. Can you see there's lots of different numbers there? Now, the big numbers at the top, they're inches, and that's an old-fashioned way of measuring. But we are using centimetres. So can you see really closely? If I zoom in, I hope it's not too blurry. Can you see a C and an M there? That's what we need. Right, so we know we're looking at the right side of the tape measure. Okay, we have to start. Is it good, children, if I start measuring like this? With a little piece hanging off the end? No, Mrs. Dessoy, we need to start right at the very beginning, okay? So I'm going to measure my Happy Family game in a minute, and I'm going to start it right at the beginning. But before we do that, we have to do some estimates. And if you have a look on my board, you can see I've written down all of my objects that I've collected around the house, a little section for how much I think they're going to measure, and their actual length. And it's always good to have an estimate to make sure that you're reading the right numbers in the right place and you've got a good idea of what it might be. So my Happy Families, I'm thinking this is probably going to be about 10 centimetres. So let's put our estimate there. And don't forget, centimetres, it's not 10 elephants, it's not 10 stars, it's 10 centimetres. So there's my game. Oops. Here's my angel. Let's have a think about her length. Probably a bit more than the game. So I'm going to say 15. Oh, I wonder if I'm going to be right. 15, remember, centimetres. Okay, book. That's the next thing on my list. Here's my book. It's very snazzy. I haven't started reading it yet. But I'm going to, estimate first. Right, okay, so it's going to be bigger than the angel. I'm thinking maybe about 25 centimetres. So let's put that there, 25 centimetres. Okay, now my iPad is very similar to my book, so probably just a bit shorter. The length's not so long, so maybe 20 centimetres. And then finally, my very snazzy square box, that length, I wonder how big that's going to be. Maybe about 18 centimetres. I would say a bit bigger than the angel, maybe. Okay, so there's my estimates. Now the fun stuff. We can measure and see how close we are. So, getting our tape measure, remembering to start at the very beginning of the tape measure and the object, okay, and then you go to the very end of the object. Oh, good job, I've got my glasses on. Now that is 9 centimetres. What did I say? 10, not bad, Mrs. Dessoy. Okay, 9 centimetres, and I'm going to write that in my chart. Okay, where's my angel? Okay, so I'm going to measure her. She's a little bit more tricky, but I'm going to have a look very closely. Oh, she is 13 centimetres. Oh, my estimates are not too bad. 13 centimetres. Right, my book. Here we go. Get the tape measure. Make sure I'm looking at the right end. I've got it right at the end of the book. And I'm stopping, reading the numbers where the book stops. And my book is 22 centimetres. Oh, just a little bit out. So let's write that on there. 22 centimetres. My iPad. Now, we thought that was a little bit shorter. Let's have a look. Oh, 20 centimetres. Ah, spot on, Mrs. Dessoy. Well done. And the very last item is my lovely shiny box. Okay, get my tape measure. I'm measuring it, careful at the end, starting at 0 and at 13 centimetres. Oh, I was a bit out on that one. 13 centimetres. Okay, so that's the first fun bit you get to measure. The second fun bit is to have a look at all your lengths and what you can do with them, what you can do with the numbers. Now we can order them in smallest to biggest. So the smallest is going to be 9 centimetres. And then we put our comma. Done that one. The next one is, oh, we've got two the same. The angel is the same as the box. Okay, I've got an idea of something to do with that in a minute. 13, I'm just marking them off with a little dot so I know I've got them. And then we've got 20 centimetres and then 22 centimetres. Okay, so we've ordered them from smallest to biggest. Then we can also say, we can use our greater than and smaller than and equal symbols. We can say that the game is smaller than, what children, what could we put? The game is smaller than the box, which is 13 centimetres. We could say the box is the same size as the angel. So we'd have the angel. And what would we do for the same size equals? Okay, 13 centimetres. There's lots of things that we can do with this data and we can show it in different ways. Can you think of anything else? What's another way we could look at that data? Another thing we could do by looking at this is what's going to fit in my box. So my box is 13 centimetres. I need something smaller to fit in my box. So what could go in there? My game. Let's see if it fits. Yes, it does. There we go. My book, I don't even need to try it. I know that my book and my iPad won't fit in there because the measurements aren't right. My angel might be a tight squeeze. I'm a little bit worried about her wings, so I'm not going to squeeze her in there. Anyway, children, have a lovely time measuring things. Find a ruler, a tape measure, and go and explore and see what you can find. I wonder what the most interesting thing is that someone can measure. I look forward to hearing all about your measuring antics. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.